Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Bob, for the introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today. I've been looking forward to DisplayWeek for pretty much since the beginning of the year, since we got over CES, and I'm very excited to present here to you. The topic of my presentation is quantum dots, the technology platform for all displays. So I know that's a very bold, very bullish statement. Probably some of you are sitting in the audience and saying, really? All displays? I mean, what about all the innovation that's being made in OLED materials, soluble OLED? What about micro-LEDs like we just talked about? And other types of technology. But I'm not saying that quantum dots are the only or the exclusive technology. Thank you very much. They are a complementary technology to all of these other technologies that we're all so excited about. So let me go ahead and get started. But before I do, I have to give a quick plug for Nanosys. So here is some drone video of Nanosys' Silicon Valley headquarters. I know it's not quite as impressive as the Apple Park headquarters, but it is a very large building, 60,000 square feet, of which we fully occupy. 2/3 of this building is dedicated to manufacturing and R&D lab space, and the other 1/3 is dedicated to our office space for our roughly 100 employees. When we moved into this facility 4 years ago, we didn't take up much space in there, but we had to have it. We had to move from Palo Alto because we were installing the world's largest quantum dot manufacturing line, which is called P4, or Production 4. Some very exciting news that I have to tell you, but it's kind of a tease, it's not actually the full news. We will be qualifying P6, our production 6, this quarter, the second quarter of 2018. Unfortunately, I'm not authorized to tell you what that capacity is, but if you're one of our close partners or collaborators, you do know what it is, and it is significantly larger than our P4 line and the P4 scale. I welcome you to come visit our facility, take a tour. If we can have some business together, we'd be happy to show you how we make quantum dots and what we do. And you'll see there's no space, so our next line must come up in Asia. That will be our next major scale up. Just a couple more things about Nanosys. We focus only on one thing. We make quantum dots for our industry, for the display industry. We don't make quantum dots for any other industry, and we don't make any other material other than quantum dots. We make the highest performing quantum dot material out there, whether it's if you're looking for quantum yield, you're looking at very, very narrow full width half max, you're looking at photon conversion efficiency, and I'll talk about why that's important in subsequent applications. Full stop, we make the best material out there. We also make it in a fully automated fashion, so it doesn't require a lot of manpower. Everything is automated. We get very, very good yields. And we've driven the cost of quantum dots basically to the cost of those raw materials that go into making quantum dots. So we have the best price point for quantum dot material. We're continuing to work to continue to bring it down, but people are often surprised when they talk to me and they say, well, Russell, I just heard there's some new funding for a competitor in China, and how are you guys possibly going to compete being an expensive Silicon Valley? Well, if you're not heavily relying on manpower, and you have a better yielding process than anyone else, and you can make better material, that's exactly how we're competing. So those are two attributes that we have. We also have the most innovative roadmap and the strongest intellectual property position, which I'm looking forward to telling you about. So let's jump right into the presentation now. Quantum dots, the technology platform for all displays. The first stop I'm going to talk to you about on our quantum dot technology roadmap is something you're familiar with, is the quantum dot enhancement film. It's actually been in the market since 2013 in mass production, and there are literally hundreds of products out there. There's actually over 61 products, new models of quantum dot products that are released already so far this year into mass production, 61. It is the best technology that's in mass production for achieving ultra-wide color gamut BT 2020. And just a little reminder on how the quantum dot enhancement film works. So in the traditional LCD structure, you have an optical film stack. That diffuser in an optical film stack is replaced by a quantum dot enhancement film. The quantum dot enhancement film is a laminated film that has some matrix material to help protect the red and green quantum dots from oxygen and moisture in the middle, and then 2 barrier films. Thickness is typically around 200 to 300 microns thick. They drop right in there. The backlight is converted to blue because, as you all know, the blue light is efficiently absorbed by those quantum dots and then down converted to the appropriate peak wavelength, and you get this beautiful BT 2020 quantum dot color coming out in front. We make quantum dots only. We do not make the component. We have great partners like Hitachi Chemical, where we introduced 2 years ago our Hyperion low cadmium film that won the SID Component of the Year and is now in mass production. I welcome you to come by our booth and get an opportunity to see the Vizio P-Series Quantum 2000 nit peak brightness TV with the Hyperion film inside, ultra wide color gamut, a beautiful, beautiful product. The quantum dot market penetration is actually quite good. I think I told you already we have 61 products coming to market already this year. And in the ultra premium segment, this chart here on the right is a little small. It's from DSCC from spring of last year. But in the ultra high-end segment of TV, which is where we've primarily focused because TV is the largest display area, so we're a material supplier. We want to sell material into large area applications. And we have great traction. We have over 50% market penetration in the ultra premium. But as you can see here, the problem with that is the ultra premium is only 3% of the total display market. So we are working very diligently on our quantum dot enhancement film to reduce the cost. We went to every TV maker. We went and talked to Samsung, LG, TCL, Hisense, Vizio, all the players, and we asked them, what do you think of our technology? Across the board, every one of them said, we love it. We want to use it for 100% of our LCD product lines, full stop. But the problem is the cost. And they shared with us that the cost of the quantum dot enhancement film basically needs to go to 1 or 2% of the average sales price of that TV in order to make sense. That's kind of their back of the envelope calculation. So you can see here, we've got some work to do to penetrate deeper into the market. We've actually already been making significant progress in reducing the cost of the quantum dot enhancement film. We have been dropping the cost of the end product by improving our materials and the manufacturing processes by over 30% per year since 2013. And we see a clear line of sight to continue to do that. Some of the ways we do that is to make our quantum dot material more robust. So we can use lower grade barrier films and lower grade resins. We also make them more efficient, so we can use less of them in the QD layer and other ways of innovating. Actually, one of the very exciting ways of innovating, as I'm going to talk about on the roadmap here, is the next implementation, which is called QD on glass, or QDOG. And it's nice to be following Dr. Ruffin from Corning, some really amazing innovations that they have done there. The QD on glass works in a very different manner. So instead of having a plastic light guide plate and having to use quantum dot enhancement film, you can get rid of that. You can get rid of that quantum dot enhancement film, take the glass LGP, and because it is so rigid and stable, you can coat very uniformly on there. Glass, as Dr. Ruffin mentioned, is a perfect barrier for oxygen and moisture, so it's great. You don't need a barrier film there. You can coat thinner, so you can use less resin, significantly less resin, so that saves a little money there as well. And you can do encapsulation techniques that are used across the display industry. So now the cost of adding quantum dots to your display becomes even lower. But you still get this very beautiful conversion of light into the perfect colors, to the perfect spectrum, and just like you would with a QDEF TV. Also, since the glass is much sturdier than the film, you can make the TV very, very thin. Instead of being 15 millimeters in thickness, you can shrink the TV by using quantum dots, QD on glass, to be thinner than a smartphone. And I want to mention to all of you, there are going to be a couple of examples of the QD on glass technology here at the show. So we learned today in talking with Samsung that they will be showing IT product as well as TV product on the show floor. So I welcome you to go over and take a look at their booth and take a look at the QD on glass, is what it's called. We call it QDOG, and see what you think. But this is great innovation, and again, the whole ecosystem from from Corning Glass and the module makers working together to bring this technology to market. The next stop is what we call quantum dot color conversion. Quantum dot color conversion is basically using quantum dots, typically in the front of the display at the pixel level, to convert the light. And the light source really doesn't matter. So it could be a blue LED in an LCD TV. It could be a micro LED array. It could be a blue OLED material. It really doesn't matter. But it simplifies the manufacturing process and provides the perfect colors required for the ultimate displays. So I'll give an example here of the quantum dot color conversion in the LCD structure. Many of you have probably heard it called color filter. We don't like to call it color filter because a color filter blocks light. This is not a light blocking technology. This is a light absorbing and down converting technology that gives better efficiency and better color. So it works very much the same, except that color conversion is happening at the front of the display. This has some major benefits. It also has some challenges that I'll speak to in just a moment. First of all, our quantum dot color conversion material for the LCD technology is completely compatible with the standard color filter manufacturing process that's out there today for LCD. So that involves everything being done at room temperature. There's no requirement to be done in nitrogen, multiple bakes at 180C, exposure, UV exposure, etc. The standard process flow. So no equipment has to change, nothing has to change in using quantum dot color conversion instead of conventional color filters. You can get much better luminance because you're taking the emitter to the front of the display. You're not blocking all that light. You're really making better use of that light you've generated in your display. And you can also get amazing viewing angles. Viewing angle has been sort of one of the challenges for the LCD technology for as long as we can remember. And many innovations have happened from in-plane switching, from LG to radical pixel designs and other makers, but really nobody's been able to perfectly solve that and give you the perfect viewing angle. And I can assure you, when you see quantum dot color conversion, in this case it's a color filter, you will be shocked at how good the viewing angle is. Maybe some of you saw the demos at CES that were done by one of the major panel suppliers out there. The other implementation that can be used for quantum dot color conversion are inks. And I forgot to mention in the previous slide, we've been working with the #1 photoresist supplier in display for quite some time, literally for years, to develop that material. On the inkjet side, we work with the #1 ink supplier as well to create these inks. And we have thermal curing inks, we have UV inks, we have them tested to compatibility with multiple inkjet heads, and we're sampling to the equipment makers that are focusing on the high volume inkjet equipment, and they're really making some great progress, so we're really excited to see this. Big benefits, of course, on the QD inks is the material utilization is perfect. You don't waste anything. With a photolithography process, you end up throwing a lot away. Of course, everything we do here is cadmium-free. I should have mentioned that everything beyond the QDEF technology is 100% heavy metal, 100% cadmium-free. We don't develop any cadmium-based products going forward. We don't need to. We've made enough improvements in the cadmium-free technologies to not have to go back and work with cadmium. The quantum dot color conversion for micro LED, and for that matter also for blue OLED, is very, very similar as well. Again, we don't care where the light comes from. As long as it's the right wavelengths, the efficiency of absorption can be very good, and it can be converted to those proper colors to give you an amazing display experience. For micro LED integration, this is really interesting for a lot of us here in this room, and myself in particular. There are going to be some great opportunities for really radical displays and lifetimes with mobile displays that we've never seen before. There are some challenges though. The micro LED integration has a number of challenges due to its manufacturing complexity. But if you can use quantum dots as color converters, instead of always doing RGB micro LED, you can get rid of a lot of those challenges. You can also reduce the complexity of your circuitry design and you can better control the aging of your device over time, because those 3 different primaries age very differently over time. Also, for the AR, VR applications, a very, very small pixel is going to be required. Some people say 2 or 5 micron. You can see here with our photolithography system, QDPR, we're getting good, very good resolution at 3 micron. With the inks, they have an inherent limitation that's associated to the drop size and how the inkjet produces that drop size. But we've done things at 80 microns, 50 microns, and even some proof of concept down to about 30 microns. So those are sort of the 2 trade-offs between those 2 different material systems, but both for color conversion. The final stage I'm going to talk about here on our roadmap is quantum dots for electroluminescence, or QDEL. And QDEL, I think, is a lot of promise across the industry for many, many reasons. QDEL is where you actually stimulate the quantum dot with electricity instead of photons. So it's just like an OLED type of technology, except it has many advantages. So the quantum dots, by nature, are inorganic. They should be more stable than the OLED organic material. They have the ability to pick a specific peak wavelength and to achieve that by just changing the core of the quantum dot, the size of that quantum dot core. So instead of going back in and resynthesizing the entire OLED small molecule, you can do that. We've already proven they're more robust. I think I mentioned that before in the photoluminescent application, because the barriers that we use in the QDEF are much, much lower. Typically, you're using ultra barrier in the OLED encapsulation. For the QDEF, you're using a WVTR 10 to the minus 2 or lower, so much more stable. And they've also demonstrated extremely high brightness and efficiency. So I think many of you were here at SID DisplayWeek last year, and I'm coming to the point which I think is the most impressive thing about the quantum dot electroluminescence. And that is BOE demonstrated a beautiful couple of displays of, they call them QLED devices. Some people say QLED, we say QDEL because it's getting a little confusing out there with another company using QLED. But they presented 2 different examples with different backplanes. One was an LTPS backplane, one was a oxide TFT high mobility backplane. And those displays actually, they're not ready for prime time. If they were, I'm sure BOE would be producing those on the Gen 10 facilities coming up, and they'd be everywhere. But they were very, very impressive, and they did win Best in Show on that. The reason I wanted to mention that specifically is everyone who's demonstrating these quantum dot electroluminescent devices is doing it in a soluble fashion, so a printed system. Whether that's inkjet printed, whether it's gravure printed, transfer printed, whatever. It's a non-vacuum based system for manufacturing these displays. And that in and of itself, along with the other attributes that I mentioned in relation to the superiority of the quantum dot electroluminescence, is going to be radically game changing. When we can have displays printed in very, very large form factors, like the old days when newspapers used to run off of a printing press, ultra wide, ultra high throughput, ultra low cost, it will radicalize the way we look at displays. And every surface around us it will be cost effective enough to have displays there in every surface. So just here's a little snapshot of our current performance that we're releasing publicly on the performance of our RGB primaries for the QDEL. We actually don't show champion performance. This is our stable performance, and we plot this against the history of development with materials like OLED. We believe we're learning a lot from all of the challenges that the OLED technology has had and the great progress that the OLED technology has made. And we believe that our learning curve is going to be faster because we have the benefit of learning from what has already been done for the past decades with OLED. So in summary, we do believe that quantum dots are the technology platform for all displays. I hope that I've maybe convinced you a little bit or brought you a little bit my way, and that they will work with all of these new technologies, micro-LEDs, blue OLED backlights, whatever it might be to enhance and make for a better display. The quantum dots that are in the market today in the film form factor continue to gain market share and will continue to grow. There's a very, very big market for us there for many, many years to come. And we also believe that the quantum dot electroluminescent technology will be potentially the ultimate technology for displays in the future. So thank you very much.